Oh, hello. Isn't reality just the pits right now? It is. It usually is if we're honest. So let's not think about it. How about instead today we talk about one of my favorite movies, Chicken Run. The main premise is it's patterned after this movie called The Great Escape. So it's like an escape from prison sort of movie, only it's chickens. It's this barn full of chickens. There's one chicken who's intelligent. No, there's actually two chickens who are intelligent, two hens who are intelligent, and they're really the ones trying to, free everybody, and then the rest are just morons. Stakes heighten, whatever, and they really do need to escape, and this rooster comes flying into their camp, and they think that he can fly, and he kind of lies to them and says he can fly, and they ask him to teach them, and all this stuff happens, whatever. Spoiler alert, they end up escaping, of course. It's not like you watch every single one of these chickens get taken to slaughter until there's only one left. That does not happen. They all escape in the end. There are lots of things I quote from it still to this day. At least once a month, I will say, I don't want to be a pie. I don't like gravy. And then probably once a week or any time there's something I like to eat, I'll say, chicken feed, my favorite. So it's an infinitely quotable movie, for sure. There's also a really old rooster who says, it's absolutely outrageous. And I say that a lot too. If you like Wallace and Gromit, which who doesn't, it's delightful. You'll like Chicken Run, same makers. I loved Wallace and Gromit movies when I was a kid, and I remember, you guys remember the one that was called like The Wrong Trousers, and the villain was a penguin with a rubber glove on his head? I remember being absolutely terrified of that penguin. Yeah, Mel Gibson's voice is in it. He does a good job voice acting. I mean, there's no real dispute that he's like okay at acting. It's just too bad that sometimes he's a trash human being. Did you guys ever see that movie he was in called The Beaver? And he's a guy who's having kind of mental troubles, I guess, a dad who's having mental troubles, and he finds solace in this puppet, this ventriloquist puppet of a beaver. In the beginning, it's like he's getting better, but then by the end, the beaver is like bad. And then he has to like saw blade him off his hand. But I remember being irritated because I was like, Mel Gibson should lose his hand. He should have to completely cut off his hand in order to get rid of this beaver. And at the end, he's just got like a bandage around his wrist or something. And it's like, he should have lost his hand. That movie was actually okay. I mean, if you don't want to support Mel Gibson, I get it. But like, it was all right. Jodie Foster, I'm pretty sure, directed it. And she was in it, and some superb acting. There's one part where they're like in the shower together, making love like you do. And he has the beaver on his hand, and the beaver gets like pressed against the wet glass. It's a lot. Also, Jennifer Lawrence does graffiti in that movie, and it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're tagging an underpass. But I'm getting off track here. Y'all ever seen a chicken lay an egg? I still remember the first time I saw a chicken lay an egg, which I guess is the only time, because I don't remember any other times I saw a chicken lay an egg, was at the Clark County Fair when I was a kid. And I remember it being horrifying. Just being like, oh my god, this chicken is passing this egg. This is an experience. Yeah, I felt really bad for the chicken. Although it didn't seem like it was straining too much, And it just popped out. I think Mrs. Tweedy gets a bad rap in this. She's clearly the villain because she wants to... Oh, okay. Well, there's a whole thing where they're just like an egg farm, and then Mrs. Tweedy's like, oh, we're not making any money. And then she's like, oh, we can buy this like big machine that'll like turn the chickens into chicken pies, and then we can sell the chicken pies and we'll make more money. And honestly, I don't think that's like a bad business plan. The only problem is like how, are you just gonna kill all your chicken? You gotta make more chickens in order for this to be effective. I don't blame her. Her husband is like a straight up moron. Although, you know, he's not that much of a moron because he is catching on that the chickens are up to summit, as he says. I do wonder why these two got married. You know, was he like the best she could do? What was her childhood like? What led her to this moment where she's living with this guy she clearly hates? Although there is a part where she gooses him that I'm like, some fire in the Tweedy household. So maybe she doesn't hate him so much. It's really just the stress, monetary stress, you know, it can be really bad on a marriage. So maybe that's the issue and not an attraction thing. She does get like basically boiled alive in hot gravy at the end, spoiler alert. And even as a kid, I was like, she would die, and this seems like too much. She just wants to kill these chickens. Like, I love chicken. Oh, I haven't talked about Nick and Fletcher. They're these two rats, and they just get stuff for the chickens. Very good. One of them is the guy who was Peter Pettigrew in Harry Potter. Remember when he played Winston Churchill in The King's Speech? And it was not okay. You know? I mean, it's like he spent the whole time being like, and you're like, I mean, all right. You don't need to strain that hard to do a Winston Churchill, you know? It's like when people do Nixon and they're just like, like all the whole time, and you're like, I mean, I guess. You should watch The King's Speech, it's really good. There was a video game of Chicken Run. You know how movies will have these really terrible video games that come out with them to just, for kids usually, to try and get them to spend more money? Well, I had a PlayStation 1. That was my first gaming system I ever had. Mom got me the Chicken Run game for PlayStation 1, and I played that game so many times, but it was a really short game, and it's just one of those games that's like essentially a million mini games, and then you're like watching, you play a mini game and then you watch like part of the movie, and then you play a new mini game and you watch another part of the movie. And I remember I was like really proud of myself because one time I sat down and I played that game like beginning to end, and I was like, it only took me 4 hours, which I don't know if anyone's like done any speed runs of the Chicken Run video game, but I'm sure that's not the fastest you can do it. But anyway, I did that, and then I remember being like, I'm gonna do this again, and then I played it a second time through for another 4 hours. I had a really good childhood. Well, anyway, that's all I got for Chicken Run, guys. You should all watch it. It's a delight. It's lighthearted for the most part. There is a chicken who does get killed at the very beginning. You don't see it. You see the shadow. But I remember as a kid being like choked up because all the chickens are kind of like listening, and then they hear this chicken get killed. You should watch it. Or not, you know, whatever. Do whatever you like. It'll definitely take your mind off things. You won't have to think about how much laundry you have to do or how long it's been since you washed your hair. It'll keep you from buying more lipstick online, because why? You really only need at most 2 things of lipstick, right? I'm pretty sure it's on Hulu, so if you have Hulu at this point in time, then you can watch Chicken Run. Do you guys think I should get chickens? You know, lately I've been thinking about how I want chickens. I live in an apartment, so that is not possible. But someday, when I have a house, probably when I'm 90 years old, because I'm a millennial and that's when we'll be able to afford it, possibly. Unless I'm dead, who knows? But I've been thinking, dreaming about maybe having chickens in a yard. And yeah, wouldn't that be fun? And then you could have your own eggs. My boyfriend was just like, eggs are so inexpensive, why would we have our own chickens? And I'm like, well, because then you don't have to go to the store. And you know that they've been treated well and whatever. But you know, I would also worry that I would get some parasite from like not doing things right, you know? So, I also would like a rabbit. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day, and watch movies, enjoy, have fun, and drink lots of caffeine to keep yourself from crying. Bye.